XRP haters reach a new all-time high. And during today's episode, we're going to speak against many of the fake narratives that are circulating in the crypto market today, starting with the fact that Solana is built to be better than XRP. We're also going to break down a brand new announcement out of sitting President Donald Trump, where he just stated a dividend of at least $2,000 per person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone thanks to the revenue that has been brought in by the tariffs. With all this positive sentiment entering the crypto market, we're going to show our listeners how the bears are wrong. Taking a long-term approach to investing in digital assets sets us up for success. And with the weekly close today, we could be back in bull market territory for Bitcoin, leading projects like XRP to brand new all-time highs. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Evening Crypto, your favorite crypto news related channel. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button and subscribe, as you're going to get an update every single day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And the breaking news that we're reporting on this morning, President Trump said we are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market. 401ks are the highest they've ever been, and we are making trillions of dollars from the new tariff announcement. A dividend of at least $2,000 per person, not including high-income people, will be paid out to everyone. And why is this so great? Not only did this announcement come on a Sunday, this is a very pivotal week for Bitcoin. What are we looking at for the Bitcoin price chart? $103,000 is the 50-week moving average. Now, we've tested the 50-week moving average on 4 separate occasions during this current bull market, and every time it led to brand new all-time highs. Now, if we're unable to get a weekly close above $103,000 today, we are officially in quote-unquote bear market territory for Bitcoin, and we could see as low as $90,000 in the short term. With that being said, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. On Friday, we were $101,000. Today, we are $103,400. And as long as we maintain these levels for another 8 hours, we are going to see a weekly close above that very important price target. So if you believe we get a closure above 103 for Bitcoin, smash that like button. If you disagree, leave a comment underneath the video. Johnny Crypto, thoughts on the stimulus leading in to this weekly close?
I think we deserve it. It's our money. And he should give it back. And so historically in the past, when they've done these kind of give backs, if you will, typically if you make under 75,000, you get the full 100% back. This is historically. I don't know what his limits are going to be. If you make up to 100 grand, you'll get some portion of it back. This is all for single people. And if you're married, I think it's double that number. So good news for people is stimulus money is coming back into the economy. And why does that get me excited? People are going to spend it. And people are not putting that in the bank. Most people will not save it. They're going to go out and they're going to spend it. And right now, I would imagine some portion of it might even find itself into the crypto industry, right? Because right now, people are looking at, hey, this is a bullish thing. They're starting to hear about it on TV and they want to be involved in it. So I think that'll help a little bit for sure. And it'll be very interesting to see if he also takes some of that money to pay down our U.S. debt, Abs. Think about that. If he does that, this would be the first time in your lifetime where a president is actually paying down the debt. That doesn't happen. This could be a very good sign if he does do that. So I'm very curious to see if that happens. That would be great for everybody here because that means your purchasing power would actually go up, Abs. We haven't seen that in a very, very long time in America.
Another important signal, guys, is that back during the 2020 crash, the stimulus checks actually signaled a bottom of the market. When they distributed those stimulus checks of $1,400, a lot of those key important assets began to rise in price. So all these things working in our favor, but the major topic we're going to be breaking down for today's episode is the XRP haters reaching a brand new all-time high. And why is this the case? Well, maybe it's the competition, maybe it's the technology, or maybe it's the fact that this has been one of the top performing assets over the last 12 months, a one-year price comparison to Bitcoin and XRP. Now, November 8th, 2024, Bitcoin was $76,000 and XRP 59 cents in value. 365 days later, Bitcoin is trading at $101,000 and XRP trading at $2.27 in value, up over 285% compared to Bitcoin's mere 33% gains here. Now, why is that relevant? Because all of that price appreciation that we've experienced since 2024 is before the Clarity Act, before ETFs, and before Ripple products have been adopted by real companies. And who's more fearful of this than anybody else? It is the Ethereum and Solana investors who are now louder than ever screaming against the success of XRP. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button. This is a great interview from the Solana Foundation product manager with Paul Barron discussing how he doesn't believe in Ripple's message and, quite frankly, they're being outpaced in stablecoin development by Solana. Here's the clip.
I give them credit. They're led by extremely smart people. They've managed their balance sheet exceptionally well, and they've been able to, build some real businesses here. But it's very clear that they are aligning themselves around stablecoins. And I think the XRP community needs to understand and wake up to what's actually happening, which is basically stablecoins. That's the big play that they're making. Again, all respect to them because that's the right move. But they are far behind on stablecoins. I mean, they are XRPL, which has
I don't know that
around $100 million of.
Yeah, it's $1 billion in terms of where RLUSD is right
90%
now.
90% of which is not on XRPL.
Yeah. 10 months in, but at some point, what they're doing in terms of building a financial stack is they're trying to get into a position where essentially the ledger is going to be the cornerstone of this. Obviously, that's tied to RLUSD. So I think the connection is here, and it's a very short. Okay, well, according to what Garlinghouse is telling us, we can only go off of what the CEO of Ripple is saying, is that this is the plan. So if they execute, then this model would be, in essence, the model that they've been trying to build. Now, granted, you throw the lawsuit out of the situation, you throw what's happened with the administration, which has been anti-crypto for quite some time. To me, this is a brand new frontier for all tokens, whether it is Ripple, whether it is Solana, almost anything that's got any kind of modicum of use case, there's an opportunity here.
Very much agree, Johnny. And first of all, I want to give a big shout out to Paul Barron for the phenomenal response. But I got to be honest here. I could tell that he was visibly frustrated with some of the analysis that was being given by this Solana Foundation member, because it's a little bit disingenuous to judge Ripple on what they've done with their stablecoin after only being live for 10 months and reaching over $1 billion in market cap. That's considered a huge success. But I wanted to double down on that fact as well. When we looked at what happened over the past week or so at Ripple Swell, it appears that RLUSD is going to be the #1 product onboarding people into the XRP ledger. So it's not like they're branching off into this RLUSD project and leaving XRP on the sidelines. Instead, this is going to drive more demand and more legitimate businesses onto the XRP ledger. And a guy like Paul Barron understands that just as well, if not better than me and you, Johnny. So I think some of the visible frustration that we saw during that clip is because Paul makes some great points. That's not what Brad Garlinghouse is saying. And when you look at the actual developments, it's very clear that Ripple is solely focused on the success of the XRP ledger. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, absolutely. Shout out to Paul Barron. He did a great job pushing back on that guy, number one. Number two, this is what XRP haters or anybody does in general when they want to FUD something, right? It's so easy to FUD anything when it's first getting started. Like I could have FUDed, you could have FUDed Amazon in 97 too and FUDed it, right? And look at where it is today. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. He's, oh yeah, well, it's only 90% of it's not on the XRP ledger. No shit. They just got the thing started 10 months ago. They couldn't even work with companies because they were under lawsuits. No one would talk to them. Come on, dude. It's so easy.
Actually, even more importantly, I'm going right back to you, Johnny, is the actual reason that Ripple has stated that they launched the majority of liquidity on Ethereum is because that is where the majority of DeFi and stable coins and smart contracts exist today. Correct. So they're tapping into that system with a Ripple product, and they're going to bridge a lot of that liquidity over to the XRPL because they can now offer the same products and services for cheaper, faster, better, which is what you always highlight.
And that's what Paul was trying to say. He's trying to say, yeah, right now, this highway is already built. It's the Ethereum highway. So we're going to use that one because it's there. But in the meantime, look over here. See that highway? We're building the XRPL ledger highway, and soon we're going to be transferring people over there. And that's what he's trying to say. You guys can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? At the end of the day, they are going to be shifting people and building their own highway. But right now, of course you take it. Of course you're going. So that's what I'm saying. It's so easy to be a fudster and be like, oh yeah, well, 90% in here. No shit. It's not ready yet. It's not built. That is being what I call very short-sighted. When you look to the future, if you're not a fudster, but he's a Solana guy, right? So of course he's gonna pee all over XRP. He's gonna do that. But now let's take an objective view. Yeah, you start today, but you're building your business, and Brad has said multiple times that the XRPL ledger will be at the heart and soul, as well as XRP, of everything they do. So they're going to be working to drive and grow that. So I would love for Paul to have that guy on 5 years from now And I guarantee you it's going to be a very, very different conversation of how much utility the XRP ledger has.
Let us know, guys. Do you believe that Solana or XRP will have a better performing price chart over the next 5 years? Leave a comment underneath the video. But even guys like Anthony Pompliano, who for a long time, they only talked about Bitcoin. They only talked about the success of Bitcoin. Even now, the Bitcoin investors are admitting Ripple is developing something really special by leveraging the balance sheet they've created through the XRP escrow. If you're enjoying this content, smash that like button and let's hear what Anthony Pompliano has to say.
Have this kind of engine to generate profit and monetize that XRP. They've started to acquire real companies. So what they did is they bought, I think one of the companies was called Hidden Road, and these are like big acquisitions. These aren't like, $5 acquisitions. These are like $1 billion+ acquisitions that they're doing.
Rob, can you pull up companies Ripple acquired?
And so what you're starting to see is, again, there's incredible controversy and debate, I think, over is XRP going to be sustainable? Is it something that people are going to use? But what they've started to do is they started to take them. I mean, look, $200 million acquisition, $1.25 billion acquisition, $250 million acquisition, right? And so what they're doing is they're essentially using the monetization of their balance sheet, and they're starting to acquire real companies. Now, what I will say is we have seen this happen in traditional finance over time.
And let me just highlight this, Johnny, as well, is that the narrative has completely flipped from XRP is worth nothing without Ripple to now Ripple is worth nothing without XRP. And I think that's great news for XRP holders, but it goes to show just how quickly this game can change. And as I think the XRP ledger becomes more successful, more ubiquitous in financial products, we're going to be looking at an environment where Bitcoin investors, Solana, Ethereum, all these different communities, they're all talking about the power of XRP, just as in the same way that when you look at the iPhone, Samsung doesn't say the iPhone's a terrible product. They go, our product is better. I think that's what a lot of these blockchains haven't fully realized yet, is that it's not that the XRPL has to be a bad product. It's that if your blockchain can offer something better, then why would you be concerned about the XRP ledger? So my anticipation, guys, more bullish momentum and more adoption after we get clarity in this market starting in the back end of the year. And from that point forward, with the ETS live, the Clarity Act passed, and hopefully the United States government back in their office, we can start looking at a pace where real world assets are being tokenized. The US government is involved, and going forward, we're going to see the market cap dramatically increase. This is Patrick Witt, a White House representative, telling us exactly that.
And so, Ripple and others that are building the financial infrastructure for this new crypto economy that is built on top of it, view those more as companies, in the crypto space. But blockchain overall, you have Bitcoin, commodities, there are other stores of value. It's not a monolith, right? There are plenty of companies in this space that are building the infrastructure for this financial future. And pretty quickly, they're going to start to understand that, Bitcoin is not XRP, is not, name your other token out there. And they're, depending on the asset manager, they're going to find their places where they want to have exposure. Do they want to be exposed to the companies that are building that financial future?
Love your work. Question, Patrick Witt. That was the gentleman's name that Brad Garlinghouse spoke to on the panel. I was blown away by how articulate he was and how much he understood about everything that's going on in crypto. He says, blew my mind when he said Ripple and others building the new financial infrastructure for the new crypto economy. Could you please elaborate? That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what is happening. And he mentioned XRP specifically. I think you're going to start to see more and more people actually talk about XRP publicly. I will make a bet that ELON in the near future also talks about XRP publicly. So we'll see if my crystal ball is working. But that is my bet.
Here's what's exciting, Johnny, is that if Ripple is really developing the future of finance, if they're developing the financial rails that will be leveraged by every major company and every major government, then of course somebody like Elon Musk is going to end up talking about this technology. But what I think is being dramatically underappreciated right now is just how early we are in this whole journey. When you think about what this market is going to look like 5 years from now, it's not going to be about speculation. It probably won't even be about price chart analysis. I think it will be about real world products. Not even the ETFs. I'm talking about real demand, smart contracts, yield-bearing products, things of that nature. When those go mainstream and crypto is ubiquitous, it's in Apple Pay, it's on your credit card, it's in your debit card. That is when we can look at this market and say, not only have we arrived, but many of our listeners who are thousandaires will probably be millionaires, and the millionaires will be multimillionaires. That's what I'm anticipating, and that's why I'm excited. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next one.